If you bet baseball every day, like I do, there are certain times of the year that you really look forward to. This is one of those times. This stretch, late June into the All-Star break, about the next 3 weeks in MLB, I expect to make money. I expect to make good money. Let's see if we can make some together and talk about a pair of games for tonight with today's MLB Daily Double video powered by WagerTalk. I'm Ted Savransky, Teddy Covers, and I'm going to talk today about the Yankees and the Tigers, as well as the Rays and the Royals. And I love this part of the season in MLB for one reason and one reason only. Well, there's lots of reasons, but there's one main reason, and that is when you start talking about June baseball and late June baseball, we've got a whole lot of stats that are going to show one thing. They're going to show a team's full season performance. And what you start to see by June is the full season numbers and the current form don't always mesh. We have a pair of those for tonight. We're going to talk again. KC, who's played terrible baseball all year, but all of a sudden they're winning. Detroit has played terrible baseball all year, but all of a sudden they're winning. Is there money to be made looking at teams like Kansas City and Detroit right now? Let's start with the Royals. And boy, if you're going to talk ride the hot, fade the cold, let's look at the Odds Logic live odds screen first. Right now, I'm seeing Tampa Bay anywhere from minus 155 at books like DraftKings and Caesars, as low as minus 141, 143 at the books that cater to wise guys. So there is I'm not going to say a significant sharp square dichotomy for this ball game, but the books that cater to recreational bettors have the Rays priced a lot higher than the books that don't. So, and when we talk about Tampa Bay and Kansas City, okay, Kansas City spent extended stretches this season of playing miserable baseball. The lineup hasn't hit consistently. The starting pitching's been banged up and it hasn't been good. The bullpen hasn't been effective. I mean, they've really been a pretty bad team. This wasn't a bad team last year. They won 82 games. They were expected to be in contention for a wild card this year. It wasn't like KC was like, all right, we're in rebuilding mode. But they got off to a really rough start. What's going on right now? Well, they're 5-1 in their last 6 games. They've notched back-to-back wins at plus price, underdog prices here in Tampa. And right now, you read the quotes out of Kansas City's locker room, they're feeling good about themselves. They're playing good baseball. The opposite is what's going on in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was the best team in baseball? All right, I think they had the best record in baseball. They were 34-15. All right, their high point. Since that time, this Rays team that's still well above 500 in contention in the AL East, all that, they're 9-18 in their last 27 games. If you've been betting on Tampa for the last few weeks, you're getting crushed. They're not playing good ball. They're not hitting right now. The bullpen hasn't been particularly good. The starting pitching has been much less effective than expected. So, and it's also worth noting, Tampa going as Noah Cameron today, the projected starter for KC. It's not like Cameron's an ace, but he is a lefty. What are we looking at with Tampa against lefties? They're number 27 out of 30 MLB teams in OPS versus lefties. So the Royals' full season record says they stink. The Rays' full season record says they're elite. But current form is the exact opposite. One team's hot, Kansas City. The other team's cold. You know what I'm doing. I'm riding the hot and fading the cold, and I'm ignoring the full season numbers. Baseball is about riding current streaks in contrast to those full season numbers. And this game stands out in that regard. Royals or pass for this better. Before I talk about Detroit and the Yankees, Tarek Skubal on the mound for the Tigers tonight, I do want to let you know about what's going on right now at WagerTalk. We had a real good week last week during the week, and then I gave it back over the weekend, and I was so pissed. So we're having a real good week this week so far to start MLB. 100% perfect over the last couple of days. I have a pair of plays tonight, both backed by big angles. I have a 100% angle in one and a 93% angle in the other, both under the radar. And I expect them both to win. So check it out on my homepage, wt.buzz/TC. But really, honestly, don't buy plays. You can't win buying plays. If you want to get on board, let's partner up. Buy 3 days, get 3 free. That's a little package. You know, it's a good deal. You want a 3-day baseball package? That's a little package as well. If you want to partner up for real, again, check out the homepage, wt.buzz/TC. We've got deals every play, every day for the next year. I'm going to make money this football season. We're hungry. We're rested. We're ready. Anyhow, check it out. WT.buzz/TC if you are interested in a long-term package. And I get it. Lots of you guys watch the videos are not going to buy a long-term package. I don't care. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. The likes, the comments, the follows make all the difference. Thank you for your support. And if you're interested, again, check out the homepage at WagerTalk.com, WT.buzz/TC. Now, let's talk about the Yankees and the Tigers. And look at that. Detroit's favored over New York, even though the Yankees are, how much better in the standings? A lot. No comparison standing-wise between these two teams right now. But Detroit with Skubal on the hill in a matchup of lefties. I'm seeing -1, let's call it -130 right now for the Tigers. There is some variance there, 5 cents either way, depending on where you shop. Total in this game, 7 juice to the over or 7.5 juice to the under. And I'm interested in the total in this game every bit as much as the side, maybe more so. Let me start with this. All right. Detroit, I think, has real bet on potential. Again, I'm not expecting the Tigers to go on and win the World Series. I'm not going to ask the Tigers to do anything ridiculous. What we're going to ask the Tigers to do is play competitive baseball for a couple of weeks. All right. The quotes coming out of Detroit, coming into not this series, their series over the weekend, where they end up getting notching the sweep. But the quotes were, "It's now or never time. If we're going to make a move, we got to make a move now. If not, we're going to see all of our friends get traded at the trade deadline." And what have we seen since then? What have they won, 4-5 for the Tigers? They're certainly playing better baseball. And the one game they lost, again, no crisis. They're going against the Yankees, in a game where a one-run decision. So clearly, the Tigers have taken this sense of urgency and run with it a little bit, at least in this bettor's opinion. And I think right now there's money to be made betting on Detroit. I'm not particularly excited about betting against the Yankees. And certainly Weather's on the hill. When we talk about the Yankee starters, Weather's been their weakest starter. The markets don't like him. The last time out, he threw a gem. 6 1/3 against the White Sox, left with the score 1-1. 3 hits and 6 1/3. His quote after the game was as bet on gets. Quote, "It feels nice to keep the team in the game. My last couple times haven't been that. So it's nice to be out there competing. I felt like my old self again." That's a bet on quote for against a Tigers team that really hasn't hit the baseball at all this season. Detroit from an offensive standpoint, limited. Weaker from an expected run standpoint, they've underachieved a little bit. But this is not a lineup that we can count on runs and bunches on a night-in, night-out basis. It really isn't. So when we talk about Skubal on the one side and a Weathers who might be well bet on the other side, I don't want to deal with the bullpens today. First 5 is an interesting bet when we talk about the total for this one. So the lean here is definitely the Tigers. All right, the Tigers at the minus price. I think Detroit's bet on now. But the lean here is also towards the under and the first 5 under. That number right now, again, the Odds Logic live odds screen, seeing 3.5s out there as a prevailing number. No argument you want to go under 3.5, first 5. No argument if you want to go under 7.5, full game. No argument if you want to take the Tigers at the modest favorites price. So look for KC in the early game, and we'll look for unders and Detroit in the second of the 2 games here on this video. Thanks for watching. Really. I appreciate you. Appreciate the likes, the comments, and the follows every day. Best of luck with all your bets. And again, if you're interested, check out my packages, WT.buzz/TC, or just visit the website at WagerTalk.com. Have a great Wednesday. Good luck with all your bets. Cheers.